I think I may just be the most original author slash content creator out there. I mean, my characters have no real world parallels. Yamashita? Totally new. Negeb? Nobody in history I can think of that is even remotely like him. Uparki? I mean, who even is he? Oh wait, he's just Gilgamesh. The Epic of Uparki was written on November 24th, 2019, as my 17th story. I may have finished it in November, but I started it in September. That's right, it took me over 2 months to write this one. That means it's gotta be good, right? Someday I might read it to you when I reach a subscriber milestone. Then you can judge for yourself. Anyway, on to the characters. Thankfully, this is another simple one. The main character is the one in the title, Uparki. Then, of course, there's our next 100% human character, Khadanaz. If you recall from a previous video, this abomination is the result of Akkad and Izunu, plus a sip of unholy water from literal hell. Next, our regular on the show, Yamashita. You know all about him if you've seen just about any other video on this channel. Shujar, all grown up, is the other divine presence in this video. You know, the god of war. And, finally, Uparki's best friend Urin. I'll say now that there is a fight scene and some blood, but it's a fairly minimal amount. It's practically nothing. So, let's get through this story. There's a short exposition at the beginning telling where Uparki comes from, which is Nulesh, and what he does all day, which is being the king of Nulesh. He's 1/4 divine, 3/4 mortal, as if he wasn't enough of a Gilgamesh ripoff already. Uparki has a problem, besides being unoriginal. Early in his reign, his people liked him, but over time, they get more and more discontented with him. So, how do you make people think you look like a man? You go out and squash a spider. Except this one is enormous, and you don't step on it steps on you. I guess Uparki wasn't arachnophobic. Uparki has a bunch of really nice armor made for him, the finest bronze around. On his head is a helmet with a spear tip, because evidently he's 1/4 Prussian as well. He wears a chest plate with spears on the back, and he takes a couple horses with food, water, and fire starter stones. Then he gathers his citizens and gives a rousing farewell speech where he vows to— I'm kidding. All he does is talk himself up a bit, promise not to come back till he kills the spider, and appoints his son, Prince Polzu, as stand-in king while he's gone. So, our hero rides north, towards Mount Kuzar. Not even 2 days into the journey, Uparki gets it in his head that his armor sucks, so he plans to take advantage of divine nepotism to get better armor. Surprisingly, this works. They more or less teleport him from the shrine on top of Mount Kuzar up to Omet, where he comes face to face with Yamashita. Yamashita leads him to a room with armor and weapons made of materials the mortals had never dreamed of. He picks some nice new armor, complete with a gold helmet with a design on it and a spear so sharp he starts bleeding just from touching the blade. Smart move, Uparki. Yamashita promises that the gods will be with him should he need their help. One paragraph later, and Uparki is reluctantly making his way deeper and deeper into the cave, feeling the almost tangible darkness surround him. Then he hears a loud roar, because apparently spiders can do that, and lures the beast into the daylight, where they start trash-talking each other. Yeah, really. Uparki gets mad because he can't take what he dishes out, and he throws a spear, which Khadanaz catches in his mouth, chews up, and spits back out at Uparki. Khadanaz gives Uparki one chance to leave and live the rest of his life in peace, to which Uparki says, "No, your brother is the god of deceit, why would I trust you?" Then he trash talks some more, telling Khadanaz that his parents didn't want him because he was a screw-up child from the start, and they fight again. Uparki gets an early advantage over the spider by wounding 3 of his legs with his spear. He then uproots a small tree, because apparently he can do that, and throws it at his opponent's eyes. He does this a couple times, blinding half of Khadanaz's eyes, before the spider finally gets smart and dodges one of the trees. Then, he lashes out at Uparki, slashing his forehead with one of his legs. This is really important for a couple reasons. The immediate importance of this action is that Uparki is blinded by the blood seeping into his eyes, so he finds a tree and hides behind it until he can clear out his eyes. The other reason this action is important will be revealed later. Khadanaz can still see out of 4 of his eyes, and he starts limping around looking for Uparki. Uparki is terrified and has only 1 spear left, and he still can't see, so he does the only sensible thing and throws it. Calling upon Shujar for help, the spear actually hits Khadanaz, presumably in the eye, and the spider stumbles around for a while before finally dying. Uparki finds his horses, horse, because one of them broke free and is now roaming the woods, and makes his way back to town. This is where that other part of Uparki's gash comes into play. In Miranism, there is a belief that if you come into physical contact with something evil, that evil sticks to you like glue, and you can only cleanse yourself by bathing and doing something equally good. That evil glue is called Ayut, and Uparki's friend Urin realizes that Uparki is infected with Ayut. He frantically tries to notify Uparki of this, but Uparki is not concerned because he was the one who rid the world of the spider, so he should be fine. Well, Urin still isn't convinced, so he goes and tattles to the local priests, who sound the alarm. Meanwhile, Uparki is going around boasting of his accomplishment. Keyword, his accomplishment. That night, Uparki has a dream that he is standing in an ocean of blood, surrounded by weapons laying all around him. Yamashet yells at him, telling him he smells bad because of his Ayut, and commands him to follow him. Shujar comes along too, holding a spear that Uparki finds very familiar. After walking in awkward silence for a while, Shujar angrily throws down his spear and asks Uparki if he recognizes it. Uparki says, yeah, that's the one I used to kill Khadanaz. Of course, that was the wrong answer. Shujar says the spear you used, and Uparki finally knows what the dream is about. Then he turns to Yamashet, asking why he's there because it doesn't concern him. Yamashet gives Uparki a lecture about how he needs to stop making all the gods mad because he's only 25% divine, not 100%. Then Yamashet leaves, and it's Shujar's turn to berate Uparki for failing to mention that he called upon the war god for guidance in every single telling of his tale. Uparki quietly apologizes, which really only makes Shujar even more mad, because it's hard to appease the war god, and Shujar promises Uparki that he will die horribly tomorrow morning. Uparki wakes up in a cold sweat and tries to escape his palace, but his guards restrain him, being careful not to touch him. Uparki sulks back to his bed till sunrise, when he hears the chanting of an angry mob outside his palace. He opens the doors and walks out to the people, and they kill him in the exact way Shujar said they would. So yeah, not a happy ending to this story, but such is life. The Epic of Uparki is often used by parents and religious teachers in Mira to teach young children about the dangers of taking credit for something you didn't do. Because to a Miran, accomplishments are everything, and to take credit for something someone else did is basically the same as murder, especially if gods are involved. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any questions or feedback, and I'll see you all in the next one.